Dunlop sponsors the British Touring Car Championship.
Yeah, well, as we've been reporting earlier today, Andy Jordan hasn't been very well at all. He was had a sickness bug yesterday, and he's been feeling very low today, but he's just gone off to the medical centre now, hasn't he? How is he feeling?
Yeah, he's been rough since yesterday. He was actually sick just before qualifying. He was sick again last night, twice. We got him on water and followed Doc Traff's orders. And we thought he was on the mend. He's been resting between races 1 and 2, but between race 2 and now, he's just, I think it's just lack of fluids again that he's sort of semi-collapsed. They've put a drip on him to get some fluids into him, and he's off to the medical centre, but unfortunately he won't be making race 3 when he's 3rd on the grid. So
well, you have to in these circumstances err on the side of caution. I mean, incredible actually, the amount of racing he's done today, given how ill he's been feeling.
Yeah, no, I said to him after race 2 he did a sterling job to finish 5th, considering we knew he wasn't well, but he got the clearance from Traff this morning. But it's just, I said to him just now that his health is more important than the race.
So what's Traff said to you? How long do we think he's going to be there? I mean, it's nothing too serious, is it? It's just a case of rehydrating him.
It's just to get him rehydrated with a drip, because I don't know whether it's been the warm weather here we're having at the moment. But as I said, he was ill yesterday, and we thought it might have been, or Traff thought it might have been sunstroke. But he's very fit. He does everything. He does all his drinks, as they all do. We were suspicious it could have been his drinks bottle, but we're still not sure. But we thought he was on the mend today, but he's obviously suffering.
Sorry to hear that news, but at least we know he's in very safe hands. See you later.
That's for sure. Thank you.
Yes, and we wish him well. Also out of race 3 is another former champion, Jason Plato. He would have started from the back row of the grid, but I think he's decided to call it a day, at least as far as the Thruxton battle is concerned, and he'll be taking no part in race 3. Happier man, though, is Adam Morgan. He's been drawn onto pole position for our reverse grid race and will be out on the grid and getting all the opinions in a few minutes' time.
Dreadful start by Brett Smith, great start by Colin Turkington, who is away like a tickled rat. Matt Neal will have the inside line for the first element, and he gets the race lead.
There's a problem for Ingram, problem already for Ingram.
So it hits Tom Boardman, Boardman gets sideways and loses a wheel ripped off Boardman's car. Yeah. Matt Neal wins round 7 of the BTCC for 2018. Great start by Turkington, and this time he does launch ahead of Matt Neal on the outside, going up towards Allard. Matt Neal brakes as late as he dares, they run. Josh Cook round the outside will do it. Yes, he goes through.
Cook's got through, wow. Wow, and a beautiful slide. He just holds it. He's going to be a little slow off the chicane, though.
It's win number 2 for Josh Cook. He will win at Thruxton in round 8 of the BTCC.
So wins so far for Matt Neal and Josh Cook as we see the grid starting to assemble for the reverse grid race, our 3rd British Touring Car Championship race of the day here at Thruxton. And you see that Adam Morgan is the man who's been drawn onto pole position. But we left that second race with a big question mark over Josh Cook and the status of his victory. There were questions to be answered, we felt, about the incident with Andrew Jordan at the chicane, cutting the chicane, a manoeuvre which has caused so many problems during the course of the whole weekend here at Thruxton. But Josh Cook has survived. He keeps his race win, and we can hear all about it. He's been talking with Louise.
Well, Josh, slightly muted celebrations at the end of the race we saw earlier on, but you can now jump up and down for joy because you've been up to see the guys in the bus, and the good news is you're keeping the win.
Yeah, you know, it's the move on Jordan obviously took a bit of contact going into the chicane. When I gathered it back up again, the options were to aim for his car and end up with contact or cut through. Stewards are more than happy with everything that I did. The only thing was because I got back past Andrew through cutting the chicane, they wanted to have a look at it, and yeah, they've separated the contact between us, so I've been given a verbal warning, but they're looking into the contact of Andrew driving into me, and he could end up with something coming his way, so we'll see.
Is there a bit of a relief from your side? Did you have any concerns when you went up there that they might take the win away from you? I guess you had to, the fact that they were looking into it in the first place.
Of course, you're always concerned, but I knew the actions I took were to avoid contact. I received quite a big hit on the rear right wheel. The options were, when I gathered it back up, drive into a car or avoid it. So I've made the right decision. But yeah, it's just that getting a bit of a run onto the straight and getting back past Andrew. That was the question mark. And like I said, they've separated the contact that I received, and they're going to look at that separately.
So head down, full steam ahead for the final race of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
See you out there.
Thank you.
So he officially becomes the second driver to win 2 races during the course of this season so far, Josh Cook. Here's how the revised reverse grid lineup is set, with the news that came a little bit after that interview that Andrew Jordan had been ruled out of taking part in the reverse grid race because of the food poisoning he suffered from. He was going to start on row 2, so it's all sort of shuffled up a bit. We've got a front row of Adam Morgan on pole position with Senna Proctor, then a second row of Sam Tordoff and Matt Neal. Colin Turkington and Josh Cook are on row 3 behind, and then it's Jack Goff and Tom Chilton, Chris Smiley and Ashley Sutton. And another reminder that at the back of the grid, Jason Plato has decided to take no further part in the meeting here at Thruxton. But there's plenty to look forward to in this reverse grid race, which will be round 9 of the championship, and I think Louise is out there on that grid.
I am indeed, Stephen. And I'm down with Sam Tordoff, who, as you've just said, has moved up to third on the grid for the start of this final race of the day. Sam, you've had 2 fourth-place finishes so far today. You're starting this one in a podium position, so pretty easy job to finish it in a podium position, isn't it?
Yeah, what could be harder than 16 laps around Thruxton? Yeah, we're in a good position. We haven't got too much weight again. We've changed the car from race 2 just to try and allow for that weight and for the car to behave slightly differently. And we've benefited from moving up one on the grid. So I think we're in the mix here. Everyone ahead of me has got less weight, okay, but everyone behind me has got more. So I'm looking forward only here.
Feeling racy. We've had very little talk about tyres today, actually. I mean, there's normally so much focus on tyres here, but they've not been causing any problems that we've seen. How have they been lasting for you? How much grip have you been getting? Are they doing what you want them to do? Yeah, well, I think the temperature is definitely helping. We've seen no failures, I don't think, from any of the competitors, so no punctures. Nobody wants punctures around here. But certainly they're dropping off quite rapidly. But, it's easy to feel like you're struggling in the car without realising that everyone else around you is in exactly the same position. So it feels terrible, but it's terrible for everyone, if that's some consolidation. Great stuff. Have fun out there. Right, who have you got with you, Paul?
Yeah, thanks, Lou. Yeah, I'm with Tom Oliphant in a minute. They're just diagonally crossing the tyres, obviously putting the rears to the front with the heat up in the front. Yeah, we got some really good Twitter questions today, so thank you very much for all that. Tom, we'll go straight into it, fella. Alex Cross has asked, having not had the best of days, do you go into the last race thinking, let's have it, or do you stick to a game plan of sorts, sir?
Great question, Alex. No, I'm just going to go in and have it, have some of it, Look, everybody's been incredibly well behaved, apart from, well, somebody that hit me off in the second race. But it's going to all be fireworks in this one, so definitely all guns blazing. I'm going to get in the top 15 and get some points.
Good lad. Tell me a bit more about what happened with James Cole, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I don't really know. He came from a long way back and tried to make a move into the chicane, and it just wasn't on, and he hit me pretty hard and damaged my car and his. Not something you really want to do when we're sitting 14th and 13th in the race. It was a bit silly, really.
Looked angry, mate. You did look angry.
I was very angry, yeah. I'm sure you'll replay the door slam.
Oh, yes, we will. A bit like Jeff Allen, who's driver standards, which is weird. OK, this one's from Toby. The Sicily Mercedes seems like the front-running car this year. Do you feel you've got a little bit unlucky, or has it taken a little bit of time to get used to the car? I think you've done really well, mate.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, no, it's a great car, and I'm really pleased with my decision. Adam's showing it has great pace. And the good thing is, every single qualifying session I've been second out of the 3 Mercedes. it takes a lot of getting used to, trust me. Going from front-wheel drive, well, rear-wheel drive to front-wheel drive is such a big adaptation. I'm sure you'll be able to say the same. But I feel like I'm really getting to grips with it. Loads of people have been saying I've been doing well, you know, I've been up there. I just haven't had the rub of a green, you know. Donington race 3, I think we could have had the pace for a podium. And here, I think we had good pace in the second race. Car was feeling really good, so when I get a bit more used to it, the luck will come, and hopefully the second half of the season with no weight, we're going to be right up there.
I'm sure you will be. What about then? I always worry about rookies coming to Thruxton because it's so fast, it's so bumpy. And again, you've done well, mate. You know, it's a good effort.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's not an easy track. It's so different from anything else, and it was a big learning curve. But I came into it with my sensible head on, and we went through our programme on Saturday. And you know, in qualifying, I felt like I could have been top 10. So, you know, Dan's doing a great job, Camish, and so am I. You know, the rookies are coming in really strong. So I think we're proving everybody that we deserve to be here.
You definitely do, Tom. Spot on. Good stuff there from Tom Oliphant. Lou, I think you would Senna Proctor.
I am. I'm definitely going to be replaying that dual slam. Tom is normally such a calm guy. I didn't know he had that fire in him. Right, let's see how much fire Senna Proctor has got in him. In what we now know is a race-winning car, because we saw Josh take the spoils in the earlier race. So he's kind of got the bragging rights now, hasn't he? It's 2-1 to your teammate.
Yeah, no, he's done a good job. He was a bit quicker than me in that second one. We made a few little tweaks to the car for this third one. You know, he was a lot quicker than me, like I say, so didn't make it too hard for him, and you know, watched him take victory. So we're in a good place for the reverse grid, so we held station, and yeah, here we are. So good 2 races, good points, and you know, hopefully more in this one.
Tell me about the tweaks. How much more do you reckon you can get out of the car?
Not masses. We still set second fastest lap, just behind Josh in the first race. There's a bit more in the car, a little bit in me from first race. I learnt from Josh in that one, you know, how to handle the tyres a bit better and stuff. So we'll see how this one goes, and you know, we'll be pushing for that win.
How close? How much information can you share? How different are your driving styles, or how much can you be certain that if it works for Josh, it's going to work for you as well?
Yeah, we are quite dissimilar in driving styles. So not massively similar, not massively the same. So. Yeah, you know, there's a couple of characteristics on the car where if he's struggling with the same as me, usually it works. So, you know, it's the characteristics. It's still only quite a young car in terms of things. It's only our second season with it, so you know, we're always developing and always learning. Limited sort of pre-season testing. You know, we're doing all right. You know, we're fighting with the big boys, and we'll keep cracking on.
You're not doing badly at all. Have fun out there. Right, now let's go and grab a word with our pole sitter, Adam Morgan. Haven't really seen much from him today, partly because he's been shadow hopping. He's not got the best colouring for this hot sun that we've had all day. Sorry, boys, do you mind me diving through? But he's been just sorry. Alan Hyde, who's the circuit commentator, just on the other side. Thank you, Alan, for backing off. I'm just saying you've been uncharacteristically sort of quiet this weekend. I mean, we're used to seeing some great pace from this Merc, and it just hasn't been the same this weekend.
It's so far it's been an okay weekend. Like you said, you know, the Mercs in the past have been really quick round here. Over the last couple of years, I don't think we've got worse. I think the field has got better and better, and you know, has caught us up, if you will. But we've got a little bit of weight on. The car's holding onto the tyres really well. So you know, hopefully now get a good start, stay out of the way, and just go. That's the plan.
It's all about that start, isn't it, though? Getting underway and ahead of these guys in order to get away.
Yeah, it's just getting the launch and getting into turn 3 first is priority. So once that's done, hopefully head down. Hopefully these guys will battle like mad to hold each other up, and I'll just sail away. But it's easier said than done, and there's a bit of hard work to do. But hopefully I'll see you at the end.
I like the sound of that. There was a lot of hopefully in there, though. Well, hopefully it's going to be a great race. I'm sure it is. And you can come back and join us for that race after this quick break.
And this is the big climax to a great day's racing here at Thruxton. Round 9 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship, the reverse grid race, and commentary comes from Tim Harvey and David Addison.
And a green flag is waved to release not quite all the cars for this final formation lap. There is a gap on the grid where Ash Sutton is not to be found. He should have been lining up 10th. He's going to have to start at the very back now once he's released from the pit lane. We understand it might have been a drive shaft related issue, but the car is good to go. But it wasn't out on track before the pit lane closed, so he's going to have to join in at the back of the grid on this formation lap. And Ash Sutton then finds himself with a lot of work to do to get through the pack. Adam Morgan is the man who will line up on pole position for the last race of the day. Senna Proctor with him at the front, ahead of Sam Tordoff and Matt Neal. Colin Turkington is on the third row, Josh Cook for company, then it's Jack Goff and Tom Chilton. And row 5 would have been Chris Smiley and Ash Sutton, but it's Chris on his own with Tom Ingram and Rob Austin next. Austin now with a bit of clear space ahead of him. The next row of the grid is Matt Simpson and Aidan Moffat, ahead of Rob Collard and Ollie Jackson. Next, it's Jake Hill and Rory Butcher. Bobby Thompson will go from 19th and James Nash from 20th. Then Tom Boardman and Josh Price are on the 11th row from Sam Smelt and Stephen Jelly. Dan Camish, after a grassy moment at Church in the earlier race, will go from 25th on the grid alongside Michael Caine, ahead of Brett Smith, who was another lawnmower racer in the second race of the day. He's got Mike Bushell for company, and then it's James Cole and Tom Oliphant at the back of the grid. In terms of ballast, 75 kilos now for Josh Cook, 66 for Colin Turkington and 57 for Matt Neal. Sam Tordoff will carry 48. Senna Proctor has 33 to lug around, Adam Morgan 27, Jack Goff 21, 15 for Tom Chilton, and 9 kilos of extra weight go to Chris Smiley. So Adam Morgan, a race winner this year, is on pole. Senna Proctor, a race winner this year, lines up second. Sam Tordoff, yet to win this season, is third on the grid. And there is Adam Morgan making his way then round the long right-hander of Church, back up towards the grid. And Tim, what are we anticipating to round out what has been another very good day's racing at Thruxton?
Well, we're going to have a thrilling race, I'm sure, and Adam Morgan would love to cap his weekend with a win, and has a very good opportunity from the front of the grid with just 27 kilos on. I do think he's going to have enormous pressure. I think further back, the lighter cars, Matt Neal, we know how quick his car is. He's got 57 on, but he can still do some damage from there. Remember, 2 podiums already, and particularly if he gets a good start in the first lap. And Turkington as well with 66. But then further back, we're going to look through for a charging Tom Ingram with 0 ballast from 11. Remember how many 20 places he made up in race 2. And we'll see what Camish and Sutton can do from the very back.
So, 16 laps in prospect. It is going to be another very lively race indeed. Tom Ingram, 20 places gained, as Tim says, to head the Forever Forward award in that second race. Adam Morgan then lining up on pole position. The car with 27 kilos of weight on board. Donington winner and Senna Proctor Brands Hatch winner to line up alongside him. It was Tom Ingram heading the title race from Adam Morgan and Josh Cook at the start of the day, and now it is Josh Cook who comes into this race ahead in the championship. Tom Ingram down to second and Adam Morgan down to third. That could all yet change, of course, as we get set for the last 16 lap blast of the day. No Jason Plato on the grid. These engine-related dramas get well soon. Andrew Jordan having to sit this one out as well. And Ash Sutton will go from the back of the grid, not from the pit lane, because he's allowed out on that final formation lap. So Ash Sutton will start at the very back, and he has got work to do to get through the field. Let's see how the car fares for pace. He should gain some places, but it's going to be tough. No argument about that. Tough season for the reigning champion, of course. Struggling for results, but the fighting spirit is there as ever. The grid is formed. Round 9 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship is set to go. Good start by Proctor. Can he outdrag Morgan? The answer is no. Demon getaway by Colin Turkington. Look, who goes round the outside to make it 3 abreast going into Allard. He's right on the outside line. Can he find a way through the traffic? No, he can't. It's going to be Morgan in the lead. Proctor versus Tordoff for second, side by side, up towards the complex. Round the outside dives Josh Cook to try to get past Turkington. There's Matt Neal in the mix. There's Jack Goff there as well, but it's Morgan who emerges ahead on that one.
Great start by Morgan. Absolutely got it nailed. As you say, Turkington a great start as well, but of course you have to go the long way round, and it's such a long way round the further distance of turn 1. He just couldn't get back to the inside, but great opening half lap from Adam Morgan.
Looking back from Morgan's car, then he's already managed to put a few lengths between him and Senna Proctor in second place. Todd off third, Turkington is fourth, and now look, Jack Goff comes up the inside to try to have a go at Matt Neal. New shape Civic versus old shape, and the old one's going to get up on the inside and go through. The lighter car of Jack Goff picks up a place, bold move that going into Church. Chris Smiley is next in the queue. Morgan leads, but is the traffic going to tow back into contention as they work up towards the chicane? End of lap one. Morgan it is leading the way, diving towards the braking zone. And at the end of the lap, you can see Matt Simpson there right up alongside Tom Chilton. Chilton trying to go round him. He's up the curve, he's over the curve. So is Simpson on the exit. And the Honda just stays ahead. Adam Morgan leads. Senna Proctor is second and Sam Todd off third. Turkington fourth. Cook fifth. Goff sixth. Down to seventh is Neal. Up to eighth, Chris Smiley. Ninth is Simpson, just ahead of Chilton, who rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of a speed deficit from Matt Neal's car because he was clearly slower than the onboard shot we had from Chris Smiley coming up the Woodham Hill, and we saw Jack Goff earlier in the lap sail past on the run down to Church.
So on board with Josh Cook then, 75 kilos on board, remember, as the race 2 winner. Turning his way up through Noble now. Adam Morgan led at the end of lap 1 by 4/10 of a second. Can he get away? Or can Senna Proctor's car, which is fractionally heavier, come back at him? Tordoff running in third place, 48 kilos of weight on a motor-based Ford. And then Colin Turkington's BMW, 66 kilos of weight on that. So they get heavier behind the race leader, Adam Morgan, which should help him, of course, as he comes through Church, leading the way and maintaining that advantage.
Yeah, but I don't want to tempt fate, but you know what we haven't seen this weekend?
Safety car.
Exactly.
Yes, he's tempted. Right, so that'll be on standby in a moment. Down they come to the chicane. Adam Morgan has that advantage just over a charging Senna Proctor, who again rides the curve as they work their way through the chicane for the end of lap number 2. Hayden Moffat bounces over the chicane curves as well. How's Tom Ingram getting on? He was 12th at the end of that one. He's gone back a spot, in fact. Coming over the line now, falling away a little bit from Rob Collard, but they have both got ahead of Tom Chilton. So Ingram is back up into 11th place. Now, through green they go, up towards the complex. There goes Collard, there goes Ingram behind him. Fastest lap, Adam Morgan now, and the lead gap is 7/10.
Yeah, setup changes on Collard's car, just hasn't been happy with the car all day. Hoping to get something out of this home race for him. He's always been so strong here. And ironically, he qualified well. He was 13th, I think, on the grid, which was good for him. And of course, we expected great things in race. Normally, he always goes forward. Here we are on board with Chris Smiley, teetering on the edge of a division as he comes round Goodwood corner, run down to Church. 6th gear, just a lift as they come down to Church, or maybe a dab on the brakes with a left foot just to settle the car in. Ironically, one of the things that Dan Camish does that Matt Neal doesn't is left foot brake, and he thought he was actually slower than Dan because he was slower than Matt Neal because he was slowing the car down too much with the left foot.
So this is the Honda fight between Chris Smiley and Matt Simpson, and they are 8th and 9th. Rob Collard is right there, Tom Ingram with them. Remember, ballast free as well, looking to pick up places. Adam Morgan leads still by 7/10 from Senna Proctor. Todd off third, looking back now. Matt Simpson right behind us. You're on board with Chris Smiley. Through Allard they go, and Ingram has now done the fastest lap, a 1:17.0, 4/10 quicker than the race leader.
That is fast, that's fast. I mean, obviously he's not got so much clear track in front of him, but he obviously put a good lap in there. And like you say, 4/10 quicker than the man at front with open road in front of him.
So now Ingram has got stuck in the traffic, but he's about to have a go at Rob Collard. Look, because the Toyota is alongside the BMW. WSR runs the BMW, Speedworks Motorsport runs the Toyota, and Collard just stays ahead going through Noble. But this is looking rather inevitable now. Ingram has got the quicker car.
Yeah, Ingram taking a wide line into Goodwood, hoping to cut back on the exit, as we saw Goff do earlier. That's the cutback now, hoping to carry that momentum and just be side by side. Is he going to get there? I think he will before Church. Good move, well set up.
Through he goes on the inside. Tom Ingram gains 10th place. Right there behind him, of course, is Chilton. And this is Brett Smith, who's been in the wars. The car is crabbing. Now, has he been a soloist in that incident? Let's see. He is still crawling round, but very slowly indeed as they come now down through the chicane. This is the end of lap number 4, and it's Adam Morgan in the lead. He goes across the timing line, still being chased by Senna Proctor. The gap still hovering at 7/10. Todd off third. Turkington 4th. 5th, it is Cook. Then it's Goff, Neal, Smiley, Simpson. Ingram into the top 10 now, and that last lap was slightly slower, but he still does have the fastest lap of the race to his credit. Slower because he had to do the overtaking and he was in the traffic.
Yeah, so broken rear right toe link on the Eurotech car of Brett Smith, and as you say, we don't know whether there was contact involved or whether it was just this punishing circuit that's finally broken the car. He did have that big off, remember, in race 2 where he went sailing off on the grass, so maybe some damage caused in that that's carried over to race 3.
Big shame, given how well he went in qualifying. The weekend, overnight looked like it was going to be a good one, and it's just unravelled across the day.
Yeah, but nevertheless, still a very encouraging weekend for Brett Smith. I think another young gun charging at the front.
Chris Smiley, another young gun, charging in 8th place, looking back at Matt Simpson, and right behind Simpson is Ingram. Driving standards flag being shown for Ash Sutton, and also Jake Hill. Can Ingram make a move against Simpson before Simpson has a go at Smiley? Let's see. They all concertina coming towards the chicane. Behind Ingram, there's still Collard. And Adam Morgan is leading the race from the front and maintaining this advantage. He's down a fraction, just over 0.6 of a second. And Goff up to 5th, has got himself past Josh Cook now. So Jack Goff into 5th position. Remember, that car's got 21 kilos versus the 75 of the Vauxhall Astra of Josh Cook. Here is Ingram having his first real go at Matt Simpson, who's closing up under braking onto the back of Chris Smiley. This could get a bit leery. Let's see who's going to make the bold move first and try and force the issue.
It looks like Ingram's trying to set up that same sort of move that he had earlier on with the cutback later in this lap, trying to force Simpson and into a wrong line, and he's got Simpson a little bit wide there, but he's under pressure himself. Look, the BMW is fighting back of Collard.
So can Ingram get past Simpson before Collard retaliates? Because, of course, he's already been overtaken once by the Toyota. Simpson, who has also come on a pace this year, much improved driver, showing good pace with Eurotech as well after a tough season with Dynamics last year, for example. First season was with Speedworks in the championship, so third season, third different team. But Matt Simpson a bit low on luck, but good on speed this year, coming down towards the chicane. As you look at Tordoff, who in turn has got Turkington and then Goff behind him, and Jack Goff is charging along now. He's on the tail of the BMW and looking for a way by with that lighter Eurotech Civic. Bearing in mind he was complaining at the start of the day of a lack of straight line speed, his day has turned around for the better.
Yeah, well, he saw what Josh Cook did in race 2 with a lighter car, didn't he? And he had some good pace in that race, so he wants to try and make as much profit as he can out of the lightweight car, trying to go round the outside, and he's done it, he's got through cleanly. A good move from Goff.
So through the middle of the complex, through Campbell, Cobb and Seagrave. Cobb was where the move came, and he gets ahead of Turkington then, going through that left-hander. And of course, because the car is lighter, as soon as he's up past the BMW, he pulls away by a couple of cars' lengths. Next target is going to be for 3rd place, and it's Sam Tordoff. And we've still got 10 laps to go, so there's ample time for Goff to make up more ground. Meantime, how is Ingram getting on? He's still stuck behind Simpson.
You know, a couple of years ago, Goff was getting a bit of criticism, wasn't he, for not getting his elbows out, because he'd come from a financially challenging sort of start to BTCC where damage we had to pay for, and people said, oh, he's not tough enough. But, you know, a bit like Ingram, he's learned how to race with his elbows out now, and he's a really accomplished front runner.
Absolutely right. So Jack Goff, a far more... is aggressive the right word, far more committed driver, you could say, as he comes over the line, and we're about to see that commitment come into play against Sam Tordoff. Of course, the other thing that's changed for Jack Goff is that he's a touring car race winner more than once now, and that helps the confidence, as we've seen from Josh Cook earlier on in the day as well. Now to the complex they come. We're on lap number 8 of 16, and this is for 3rd place. Tordoff and Goff are absolutely nose to tail.
Yeah, slightly different proposition against Tordoff, both front-wheel drive cars, and Tordoff's car has been strong so far today, so a bit of a flash of the lights there, but Tordoff's been very good, very consistent today, and it won't be easy for Goff to get past.
Now Sam Tordoff comes into Village. He has got Jack Goff crawling all over the back of him. The 2 race leaders are still getting away. Look, there is Turkington being chased hard by Cook. Matt Neal is in 7th place, and problems there for Ollie Jackson. Onto the grass and back onto the road again, and he will drop down accordingly. He's dropping fluid, we understand, as well. That's another reason why potentially he's trying to keep off the line. Ash Sutton, in the meantime, 20th from the back of the grid, which is a good effort. And here, for 3rd, Jack Goff launches up the inside, and through he goes. Clean pass gets the job done. And have a look behind Turkington, because Josh Cook is catching him despite carrying more weight.
Yeah, 27 kilos difference between Goff and Tordoff, so that pass almost inevitable in the end. And well, there's only 2 cars in front of Goff now, and he's 3.5 seconds behind with plenty of laps still to go.
To the complex they come. Now Jack Goff's next target is 2.4 seconds up the road, and it's Senna Proctor, who just can't do anything about Adam Morgan. The gap creeps up lap by hundredths here, a tenth there, but there's just nothing he can do to bring down that gap. But Jack Goff could catch Proctor. A replay here of the move, Tim.
Yeah, signalled his intention, and I think Tordoff knew he was fighting the diminishing returns by trying to stay in front, so left the door open nicely. Here's Sutton, who remember, started right at the back. He clearly has had a moment and is recovering from that, being passed left, right and centre, so don't know what happened there, but he's now in...
He's going to be about 25th.
He's going to be 25th, isn't he, when he come across the line. Other people that started at the back. Hamish is up to 16th. Remember, he started 25th, so he's made very good progress.
Ingram against Simpson. This is for 9th place, down to the chicane, but Matt Simpson fends him off. Interesting this, isn't it? Ingram has got a bit stuck, even though he's got no ballast. He's with light cars around him, and he's struggling to make the progress now. Even though Chris Smiley's got a bit of weight on 9 kilos, he's defending well from Simpson, and Simpson is keeping Tom Ingram at bay as well. Now can Ingram line up to have a go? This is the run to the complex. Yes, he's alongside as they go through green. He's going to have the inside line for Campbell, and Tom Ingram goes through. He takes now 9th place away from Simpson, who goes right into the back of him. The car is sideways. Ingram controls the slide, and he still has 9th place, assuming that's not done any lasting damage.
Yeah, there was some judicious use of the inside curve by Tingram on that lap to set up that move, but it's paid off, even if he got a little tap from Simpson.
Simpson now has to try to defend because he's got Collard crawling all over the back of him. We are on lap 10. It's a 16-lap race. Ingram then through, and he's up into 9th place. Next target is Chris Smiley. But of course, thinking championship, thinking Alton Park as the next venue where it's hard to carry the weight around. Josh Cook looks like he might well go there as the championship leader, but with a very heavy car. So Speed worked early on in the day, saying perhaps going to their home circuit without the championship lead, not the end of the world, because a lighter car might work better. You've got to think about the championship all the time in so many different ways. Over the curbs of the chicane comes Rob Collard. He's on the back of Simpson, who is dropping away from Ingram, who is almost now sharing the BTC Norling Honda with Chris Smiley. So close is he?
Yeah, that's the ultimate in sort of turning a negative into a positive, isn't it? If we go to Alton with less weight, we'll be quicker there. Well, you're not going to give away points to get that situation, are you? You're just in that situation through force of circumstance.
But for now, Ingram has not given up, has he? And he's still fighting, and he's still after every point he can get. Chris Smiley, yet again, proving that he is well worth his place on the BTCC grid. He's a very feisty racer. He knows how to make a car wide.
He certainly does. And at the front, the Tordoff was, Goff was by far and away the quickest. At 4/10 quicker, Goff was than Proctor and Morgan. So now has Morgan hit that critical point where he's losing tyre performance? Car looks pretty nailed there, coming through Church, looked good. Or maybe it was just one poor lap, but Goff is inching his way up towards them, isn't he?
Of course, he's got to get past Proctor before he can think about Morgan. So from Adam Morgan's point of view, he wants that battle to last as long as possible. Here comes Ingram against Smiley. He has a look one side and then the other. Everywhere he wants to be, there's a Honda in the way. So they're still tied together, but no change in the order. As behind, look, Collard and Simpson arrive side by side, but it's Simpson that just keeps the place into the chicane. Ingram now tries to get the run up the inside of Smiley, down towards Allard, and just going through on a very narrow inside gap. Tom Ingram picked up the place. Smiley fights back, but Ingram is ahead. He's done it. He now goes 8th.
Great overtaking, forceful, aggressive, saw the gap, just kept putting his foot down, had that superior exit speed from the chicane, and Smiley finally having to just give him the room and not put him in the wall. That was good driving.
Hard but fair. Adam Morgan, in the meantime, has a different kind of race to think about, which is looking after tyres and constantly looking in the mirror to see what the gap is. Jack Goff continues to hustle on in pursuit of Senna Proctor. The last lap for Jack Goff was a 17 quicker than the 2 race leaders, so 3/10 faster than Senna Proctor ahead of him. He's on lap 12 of 16. He should get 2nd place before the end, given the way that he's going.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the fact that Proctor is behind is going to help Adam Morgan, isn't it? Because even if Goff gets up behind him, he's got some work to do to get past and then catch.
Into the chicane, launching over the curb from the first element there. Senna Proctor and Jack Goff. Fourth is Tordoff, Turkington fifth, Cook sixth, Matt Neal is seventh. And then it's Tom Ingram up into 8th place. Good battle between Rob Austin and Tom Chilton. Chilton gets squeezed up over the curve and onto the grass. Rob Austin goes through. Aidan Moffat still struggling for straight line speed. Tries to make a move on the inside. Can he get his nose up the inside? He can. Can he get the whole car up the inside? Yes, he can. And Moffat goes through and gains a place. That was brave.
That was a good move. Well done. And good driving by. Oh, Camish has seen an opportunity. He's down straight in there as well. Can he go around the outside? I'm not sure. No, couldn't quite pull it off all the way.
Not there, he can't, but it was certainly an opportunistic go, wasn't it? He suddenly arrived out of nowhere. Bang, right up the inside, flashing the lights at Tom Chilton. Tom's early race pace has seemed to be good, and in each race he's kind of dropped away as the race has worn on.
Yeah, it could be just a set-up issue. It only takes a tiny difference to drop that pace off, but Camish is a man on a mission, having started at the back, isn't he?
Admittedly, 15 kilos on Tom Chilton's car, 8th on the grid. He's now running 14th, but surprising perhaps that its pace has dropped away quite so much. There's Aidan Moffat through, having gained the position, and now Jack Goff is right on the tail of Senna Proctor for second place as they come through the chicane, heading up towards the timing line. This will now put from Adam Morgan 13 laps in the book, 16-lap race. Proctor to Goff, the gap is 0.325 of a second. Adam Morgan leads by 1.6 seconds. Can he be another double winner this season? He's driven faultlessly so far, but Jack Goff, using a lot of curb on the inside coming into Campbell, is now looking for this move against Senna Proctor. And now Adam Morgan, having said he's driven faultlessly, I take it all back, because he's been given a driving standards flag.
He doesn't need to be doing that when he's out in front with a 1.5 second lead, but you could see through the complex clearly that Goff has got more grip.
Yes.
He's got more tyre left under him. He was able to turn tighter, turn sharper, and keep the rolling speed up. So he's definitely got a good car underneath him. He's trying to do that cut back here, but in the faster corners, the Vauxhall of Proctor is keeping up its momentum well. Look at that, turning in, bit of sideways, might make him slower on the exit. Here's the momentum coming from Goff. Can he get in the slipstream? He's been complaining about being slow on the straight so far, so this may not be the best point. He's going to have to do it the hard way, go around the outside. There's no opportunity this lap.
Nose to tail, though, they come into the chicane. All of this helping Adam Morgan, because if they delay one another, so he is going to build that gap further. Proctor is wide out of the chicane, and Goff gets the inside line for the next right-hander. Start of the lap into Allard. Through he goes. Jack Goff on the inside line goes second. He's wide, a real slide through the corner. So much speed did he carry, but he has done it. Jack Goff, then, who started 7th on the grid, is now second, and with 2 laps to go, he's got 2 seconds to make up.
Yeah, he's not going to make that up on an experienced drive like Adam Morgan, but nevertheless it's been a great recovery drive from Goff to salvage some strong points out of what's been a difficult weekend.
It's going to be fascinating to see how the championship pans out come the end of this. Morgan leading from Goff, Cook 6th, Ingram is 8th. Really is going to be intriguing when we go through the points standings at the end of the day. Tom Oliphant, in the meantime, who started, remember, 30th on the grid, is now running 20th. Ash Sutton Snakes and Ladders drive. He had got himself up to 19th before he had that moment. He's back up to 21st. And in fact, there he is on the tail of Tom Oliphant then as the two of them run nose to tail in the traffic. Bobby Thompson is up the road ahead. Bobby has won here in the Volkswagen Championship in the past. Another of the rookies into the VTCC this year. Now, Matt Simpson has lost out to Rob Collard, but he's fighting back. Aidan Moffat's looking for a way past Rob Austin on the inside, coming up to the chicane. Ahead of him, side by side, Collard on the inside, goes ahead of Simpson. Moffat's going to try and go through as well. And he leans on Simpson and he's sideways, and the Honda is ahead, and Moffat's going to be on the grass, and Rob Austin gets carried along with him, and Chilton gains ground, and Camish will go through as well. And side by side into Allard on the inside line, Tom Chilton goes ahead of Matt Simpson, and somehow out of all of that melee, that has put Chilton up into 11th place.
Well, I think Matt Simpson's been through the chicane every which way. He's been through it to the left, to the right, and over the top, and damage on the rear bodywork of Aidan Moffat's car. But he will get to the end. Can Camish pick up a couple of places on this last lap? Bit of opportunism, maybe.
So the smoke coming from Aidan Moffat's Mercedes. It's not affecting the pace because it comes back up onto the inside of the Rory Butcher MG. Now, the leader is on his last lap. Adam Morgan has driven very, very well in this race. I mentioned that driving standards flag being brought out, but other than that, he has been out on his own. He has controlled the pace, and in fact, the advantage has stretched. It was 2 seconds, it's now 2.9.
Yeah, and he was only 10 points behind Cook coming into this race, so it is going to be very close.
And of course, it's effectively home circuit next for Adam Morgan as well. So round 9 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship is a win for Adam Morgan. He comes across the line. What a drive. And Jack Goff is second. Third, Senna Proctor. Tordoff takes fourth. Fifth is Turkington. Sixth is Cook. Seventh, Tom Ingram. Got ahead of Matt Neal right at the very end. So Neal is 8th, Chris Smiley 9th, Rob Collard 10th, and then everybody else tries to be 11th in the order of Chilton, Simpson, Camish, Butcher, Moffat just in the points, Austin is 16th. The next wave comes through, Hill 17th, Tom Boardman 18th, Tom Oliphant 19th, Ash Sutton 20th, ahead of Jelly, Thompson, Nash, Cole, Kane, Sam Smelt, and then Mike Bushell for 27th. Adam Morgan will be a very happy race winner. One of the crew members at Mac Tools with Sicily Motorsport, who had better remain nameless, said we always want him to win the second race, not the third, because it takes longer to pack up at the end of the day with all the celebrations.
Oh, as if
Killjoy.
Exactly. They always celebrate a win, always celebrate a win, and that was a great drive. That was a great drive. He just did exactly what he needed to do. Got away at the start. He managed the weight of the car and the race very well indeed.
So Adam Morgan, who had a win at Donington, takes a win at Thruxton, and an excellent drive, winning in the end by 2.4 seconds. Lots of good drives in that, because of course Jack Goff worked his way through the order, looked after the tyres as well, and had to push at the same time. Senna Proctor second for so long, just losing out towards the end. Torn off banking points, Turkington likewise, and Josh Cook 75 kilos, 6th place. Tom Ingram behind him, and in fact was very nearly up there with him, only 0.378 of a second between Cook and Ingram at the very end of the race there.
And Tordoff's had 3 fourth places. That's great consistency. I bet he wished he'd had a podium, but he'll be delighted with the points from that.
Yes, Malcolm Swettenham, who engineers that car, team manager for the Gardex element of the Motorbase squad, was talking about how frustrating it had been with limited points early in the weekend, but he'll be very happy with that as well. Experienced team manager. And that is Adam Morgan taking the flag. Very, very happy indeed. Cross the line, pressure off, out comes the emotion. And the lads and lasses from Accrington that run the Mac Tools with Sicily Motorsport car will be proper chuffed as well with that. Adam Morgan with a great reception from a big crowd at Thruxton, a race winner. Adam Morgan wins round 9 of the championship, Jack Goff second, and Senna Proctor on the podium in third. Sam Tordoff takes 4th ahead of Colin Turkington, and then Josh Cook 6th from Tom Ingram, Matt Neal, Chris Smiley and Rob Collard into the top 10. Tom Chilton's hectic race nets 11th, Matt Simpson unlucky at the end, dropping to 12th from Dan Camish, Rory Butcher, and Aidan Moffat salvaging a point after a difficult weekend. Rob Austin 16th from Jake Hill, Tom Boardman, Tom Oliphant, who was at the back of the grid, and then Ash Sutton in 20th. 21st going the way of Stephen Jelly ahead of Bobby Thompson and then James Nash. James Cole taking 24th from Michael Kane and then Sam Smelt. Mike Bushell with dramas again, so too Josh Price, Ollie Jackson, Brett Smith we saw with damage, and of course Jason Plato and Andrew Jordan non-starters for the third race of the weekend. As far as the championship is concerned, it is Adam Morgan who leads, leaving Thruxton only by a point from Josh Cook, and it's Tom Ingram down in third, now 11 back. Jack Goff 4th ahead of Colin Turkington and Matt Neal, Dan Camish 7th ahead of Senna Proctor and Ash Sutton, and Tom Chilton back into the top 10. It's been a topsy-turvy day at Thruxton. And so now the cars come into the pit lane, those that are needed for the top 3, and class wins go through the technical checks. All is good for Adam Morgan, so he's allowed down the pit lane, which is a very busy place, and the Tokyo technical team want to make sure that the right cars go to the right places. But Adam Morgan, race winner, will be a very happy man. The little white board you can see on the front is to say that the car is under park fair made conditions, so it now can't be touched until the scrutineers have done their checks. And Adam very shortly will make his way out of the car and up to the podium once it's parked in the right place. And Adam has come a long, long way since his first Speedworks run season, in fact, in the championship, fresh out of Ginettas, and he had this rather wild man tag, but he has certainly matured. He's become a very fast driver, a much smoother driver, and there, just not putting a wheel wrong, always maintaining a gap. And after a great display, wins for the second time this season. And again, the Mercedes-Benz A-Class. It's one of the older cars on the grid, of course, these days, but still showing excellent pace. A few tweaks over the winter to find a bit more performance, and those tweaks have worked well. Adam Morgan it is who wins race 3 at Thruxton. And in a moment, the Morganator will clamber out of the car and no doubt have a lot to say. Great cheer goes up from the Back Tools with Sicily Motorsport squad. The team run by Russell Morgan, Adam's dad, who's raced himself, he's rallied himself as well. So it's a good motorsport family, and it's a very close-knit team. And Adam makes his way over to celebrate. He takes win number 2 of the season, so a very happy man indeed he is. So as soon as he's got his crash helmet off, we can hear from our race winner. He won race 3 at Donington after a day that started badly after, if you recall, a tangle with his teammate. But here, no dramas whatsoever. As Jack Goff clambers out of his second place car, Adam Morgan still enjoying the spoils of a race win. Senna Proctor for third place, again underlining the pace that the PowerMax Tag Racing Vauxhall Astras have, but also, of course, this constant changing of the guard, as we talk about, with 3 young drivers locking out the top 3. Adam Morgan, the race winner, and he is with Louise.
Well done, Adam. Great drive, great win.
Yeah, thank you. It's just like we said on the grid.
You love it when the plan works.
I didn't expect it, to be honest. I thought, you know, Senna's quick round here. The Vauxhall's been really quick, so I expect to come under a bit of pressure, but you know, I got the start hooked up, and as soon as I got round turn 3 in the complex, I was like, right, that's it, that's the gap. Qualifying laps now, let's just get on with it and go. And Senna kept me honest, he kept me pushing all the way. I saw Jack flying up behind as well, so I had to keep going the entire lap, the entire race, but the last lap I managed to calm it down a bit and enjoy the moment.
Did you think that Jack was going to be a threat with the team telling you how quickly he was coming up, or were you confident at that stage that you had it in the bag?
No, I was pretty confident. You know, never say never, but the car's been on rails. So as always, huge thanks to my sponsors: Matt Tools, Fuchs, Sicily, Hexatron, our engineers. It's been amazing. I could see the gap behind. I was sort of managing it. Yeah, I was all right. I was quite happy. I was quite happy.
Well under control, and you are now our new championship leader.
Well,
it's only 1 point, so don't get too excited. No, but even so,
that's a first for us. So you know, it's testament to those guys. You know, they've been working their socks off all winter, all race season long so far, and we go into our favourite track, Alton Park, after a massive fire last year with full ballast on. So heads up, you know, thank you to these guys again, and looking forward to Alton.
Yeah, look on the bright side. Jack, come and have a word. Another great drive there. I mean, where was it you started? Way down, P7. Yeah. That's a brilliant result for you to get on the podium, P2.
Do you know what? It's been a hard weekend. We came into this weekend on the back of last year at Thruxton with an improved car, and we expected to be fighting, you know, sort of top 5, top 6 in qualifying, and it was an absolute mare. We had a few problems over Saturday. We had a few problems in race 1 as well, and you know, managed to keep it on the black stuff in race 1, and we then got the car slightly better for race 2, and yeah, race 3, the Wix Racing with Eurotech guys have just given me a fantastic Type R, and you know, I owe it all to them guys and obviously my sponsors.
It looked like a different car.
Yeah, finally I can say that. You know, we've been making changes, chipping away, working with the engineers, and finally in race 2 we went, do you know what? We finally caught something there, and yeah, the last race was pretty good.
Tell me about the move on Senna to take that second place.
I think he was hoping there was one less lap, and I was hoping there's about another 3 or 4 laps. So yeah, I can see he was struggling with his tyres, certainly into the last chicane. My engineer said it's sector 3 where you're quicker than the 2 in front. So I knew if I managed to get the first part of the chicane right, we might just be able to cut our nose back and get alongside him. And do you know what? Senna was very fair, and he could have fought me a little bit harder, but a podium's obviously great for both of us.
Nice one, well done you. Well, let's bring in Senna. Second place for so long. A third is still great, but a little bit of frustration there?
Yeah, maybe went after Adam a bit too hard at the start. Ruined the tyres a bit, and when I saw Jack coming out, you know, I was trying to push on a bit when he probably wasn't really there in the car. So, you know, the tweaks that were made sort of in between race 2 and race 3 seemed to work. And, you know, we had a strong race with 33 kg of ballast on. So, yeah, positive result for everyone.
At what point did you kind of think, OK, this isn't going to happen, I'm going to have to not give it away, but I'm going to have to let it go?
Yeah, I got a black and white flag for track limits, a warning, so I had to be quite careful out the last chicane, and I knew Jack would kind of, you know, spot that and exploit it, which he did. He did a great job, and, you know, it was still a great result for me in third, so it would have been nice to keep second, but yeah, a great result for everyone.
Well done you. We'll see you up at the next one. Right, we are going to head for a quick break now, but there'll be a bit more reaction to all the touring car races here today when we come back.
Reverse grid race at Thruxton, and Adam Morgan takes full advantage of the pole position he was given. Behind him, Senna Proctor and Jack Goff battled for second, and it was a determined drive from Goff to take second place. But for Adam Morgan, his second straight reverse grid win, and he takes over the championship lead by a single point, and I'm sure it only serves to heighten the variety of championship standings as we leave Thruxton today. David Addison can round up the details.
It's been a very topsy-turvy day for many of them, hasn't it? Of course, we came here with Tom Ingram as the championship leader, and we leave with him third, and Adam Morgan having the advantage by 1 point from Josh Cook. Tom Ingram then third, just 2 points ahead of Jack Goff. Colin Turkington comes next, 10 up on Matt Neal. Then Dan Camish 7th, and Senna Proctor is 8th after the first 9 races of the season. Now, what about the HiQ Teams Championship? PowerMax Tag Racing has the advantage there, 25 points up on Halford Duasa Racing. Team BMW is third, and then Wix Racing with Eurotech ahead of Mac Tools with Sicily Motorsport. And of course, as a one-car team, Speedworks Motorsport always been on the back foot, 6th. Manufacturers, it's all about Vauxhall at the moment, 18 points up on both BMW and Honda. And Subaru really struggling, down in 4th. The Independent Drivers' Championship is being led by Adam Morgan, and it's Tom Ingram 5 points behind him. Jack Goff third ahead of Aidan Moffat, and the 5th independent driver, Tom Chilton. In terms of the teams, Mac Tools with Sicily Motorsport only 2 ahead of Wix Racing with Eurotech. Speedworks is now down to 3rd in the independent teams ahead of Team Shredded Wheat Racing with Gallagher, and Laser Tools Racing is 5th. The Jack Sears Trophy, for those drivers that haven't been on a podium before the start of this season, is led by Dan Camish, 12 points ahead of Rory Butcher. Chris Smiley third from Matt Simpson and Jake Hill. Ollie Jackson 6th, then Brett Smith from Tom Oliphant. Mike Bushell is 9th, and 10th in the Jack Sears Trophy is Bobby Thompson.
And that's our day here in the sunshine at Thruxton. Just time for some final thoughts from Tim Harvey and Paul O'Neill. General thought, it's a sort of calmer touring car day than we normally experience here. No less entertaining, though.
Well, we never had a safety car all day, which is unheard of, isn't it? But we also, hats off to Dunlop, not a single tyre failure due to wear. Really done a good job, but it did make the racing much closer. No one has had the drop-off that we've had in previous years. All the guys getting around the camber and tyre pressure settings, and it made for some close racing.
What do you make of our new championship leader?
Absolutely top dollar, isn't he? Done a great job all weekend, and I think that, you know, going forwards, he's going to be really good. He goes to his home race now at Alton Park. Chassis looks good, engine looks strong. He knows what he wants to do, and I think they're in for it. It's good.
But we're going to talk about the old boys coming through, as I predicted.
Yeah, I mean, at the start of the programme, I mean, the suggestion was, is it the new generation, is it the old generation fighting? But we don't know.
Well, you know, the thing is, Neil and Turkington had 2 podiums each. They're up to 6th and 5th in the championship points. Turkington's only 18 points off the lead. That is ominous to me, with a lot of really good rear-wheel drive tracks coming up.
And Adam Morgan there. Well, he knows how to win a reverse grid race, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he's a good, you know, he knows how to do it. We've said the same about Goff. We've said the same about Ingram. These guys are really good all-round drivers now. And when you win races, you get used to it. You want more of it. And he delivered a perfect race in that race.
Let's talk about the man who came here with the championship lead, Tom Ingram. I mean, he salvaged what he could out of the day, performed brilliantly in that final race.
Yeah, he did. Didn't he? When he gets here, it seems to not fall apart, but he seems to have trouble. He did last year as well, but he did exceptionally well to get back on terms and, you know, do what he could. But it's a shame about what happened to him in race 1. It happens, but you can't, like Tim's always said, you have to just deal with the disappointment and keep going and crack on going forwards. It's exactly what him and Speedworks done, so brilliant for them.
Other outstanding performances you'd pick out. Our first race winner was Matt Neal. He looked so much
really
on form,
good.
didn't
Yeah,
he?
the car looks good now. Camish was quick but had some issues, but they look very good, and they will only get better and stronger at all the other circuits. One of the best things about the Honda in the past is they never had a bad circuit, so they were always strong. But also great performance by Sam Tordoff. 3 4th places is great consistency.
And the frustrations continue elsewhere, in particular for Subaru. We had Jason pulling out of that final race, which is a bit of a sign, isn't it?
It's not brilliant. Let me be really honest. I've been on Twitter all day, as you know, and that is all that people wanted to know about. Why is Jason Plato at the back of the grid? What's going on? We know that Ash Sutton was roundabouts the rear as well, but drove, you know, a bit further forward. What is going on? You know, what is going on? This guy, I don't want to see this fella at the back of the grid. He's just, you know,
the team changed engine suppliers very late in the day, and they did it to save money. Well, a top team shouldn't be doing that, and it's bitten them really, because all they ended up doing is with problems leading into their new engine supplier. It's not Swindon's fault. They didn't have enough time to sort it out. It'll now cost them more money to sort it out than it would have done to stay with the championship winning team suppliers Mountain they had last year, and they're losing points. They're hemorrhaging points. Sutton is 41 points off the championship lead. It's not good for the champion.
So we now head to Alton Park, which is a different kind of challenge to this wonderful place.
Yeah, just a bit, and we head to Alton Park. It's a home race for me, but I think Colin Turkington...
racing?
Yeah, no, I'm racing. Have you not heard? I'm replacing Plato. You heard it first here. No, I'm joking.
Don't start
Yeah,
that.
no thanks. I'm all right, actually. No, I think Alton Park is going to be rear-wheel drive. Tim said before it's 50-50, but I do think Turkington is now going to start putting pressure on the young guns, which I don't really want, but let's see how they get on.
So traditionally, who goes well at Alton Park? Home circuit for Adam Morgan.
Yeah, I mean, he will go well. I mean, cars with good brakes, the braking there is the biggest on any of the track. Braking into that island hairpin, it really puts a big strain on it. So cars that are good on the brakes, cars that are quick on the straights will do well. It's all the top protagonists.
So finally, is it an old guard season or is it going to be a new guard season?
It's going to be... it's going to be... Do you know what I'm really impressed with? I'm really impressed with PMR in that Astra. That thing looks so strong, and I'm going to say that the new guys are coming, and I think they're here to stay.
Right. I'll leave the old guard to argue with the new guard. Paul O'Neill, Tim Harvey, thanks very much indeed. Let's just remind you that you can relive highlights of our day at Thruxton on Saturday at 8 a.m. in the morning, repeated on Sunday morning at a similar kind of time, and then on Wednesday the 30th of May at 11:45 over on ITV. Also, don't forget our exclusive post-race reaction on the ITV website and on Twitter at ITV Motorsport. Alton Park, as you heard, is our next live action, Sunday the 10th of June from 11:15, qualifying live online the previous day. Motorsport UK is back at 1:20 on Tuesday morning with all the support race action. And here on ITV4, the European Under-17 Championship final is next. That's Italy against the Netherlands. So that's the action at Thruxton. Alton Park is another of those great classic circuits. Join us there in 3 weeks' time. But from Thruxton, goodbye.
Chasing after something like we're trying to throw our lives away, 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 oh. This is my favorite part, so help me piece it all together before it falls apart. Help me piece it all together.
Dunlop sponsors the British Touring Car Championship.